finally, the Daima DLC dropped. We're going to look at the trailer. I want to say happy belated Easter to everybody. I know that Jesus is real because they actually finally dropped this after all the delays. And what's even better is we are going to check out the patch notes. But first,
wake up. I know you're out there, Father. You came back to save me, and I won't let you down! I know you're kind. You think you can waltz in and just take our planet. But you forgot one thing. I'm my father's son! I'm so proud of you.
all right, let's get into this DLC with a little bit of commentary. Man, oh man. All right, so you can hear that this is still in Japanese. So this should give a little bit of insight as to why things were taking so long. But this is DLC 2, man. Character Pack 1 for Daima. I'll point out a few things, man. You see there on the islands map. We're not going to be getting any new maps in this DLC. We got Glorio. We got Ku. Got Goku and Vegeta Mini. Got Super Saiyan 2 right here. And this is by far the hardest transformation. Absolutely. I think the reason why they decided to use the island is because it's the closest thing to where he fought this Tamagami with all the water and stuff like that in the second demon realm. And hard. They definitely should never have had Goku able to contend though, but it is just a trailer, man. Who really cares? But Super Saiyan 1 ain't nothing to Super Saiyan 3. Come on now, we know better than that. We got the Star of the Hour, Kadan. And we got Stink Blaster, Pansy. That's the end of the DLC, basically. All right, we're going to get right into the patch notes in just a second, but I want to just acknowledge and give my 2 cents on a few things. I don't think we should expect any new maps, man. I think what they're focused on is just trying to get the gameplay right and get the characters in. I heard a thing that one of the producers or somebody that, you know, has some pull with the Sparking Zero community and the development of the game said that they didn't even plan to release any more maps in the first place. And they said that like way early on. So I think if we do get some maps, it's going to be a map pack, but probably not this year. Like, I doubt it. I really doubt it. I think we just got to be happy with what we got. And I mean, it is definitely subpar 100%. But now that that's out the way, man, let's get into these patch notes. So I think the patch is actually the best part about this DLC. They definitely should have had Super Saiyan 4 mini Goku. Absolutely. I mean, Pansy just wasn't, well, she wasn't that needed, man. Like, let's just keep it a buck. She wasn't. There were other people that we could have had. I would have preferred Piccolo, Mini Piccolo, or, you know, Supreme Kai. I would have much preferred them, but it is what it is, man. I want to be optimistic and just excited about what we got, man. Not to say that we shouldn't complain and that we shouldn't make known our requests, you know what I'm saying, to the developers. Keep tagging them, keep commenting on stuff, keep sharing what other people are saying, keep sharing the mods and all of that stuff, because with these patch notes, I know that they are listening to the things that we're saying. You know what I mean? So let's just keep that up, man. But anyway, let's get into what this first patch is saying. So there's a decent amount to read here. I'm sure there are a lot of creators that are going to go over this whole thing, but I want to go over the stuff that really matters to me and is going to matter to people who are looking for just the gameplay changes, right? So they did some stuff with the episode battles. They said that they adjusted some stages. They did some stuff with the dialogue for custom creation, the custom battles and things like that. That stuff is not all that important to me. The first thing that I see when I look at these patch notes, and I want to say shout out to bro. So I got this from somebody on Twitter. I can't remember what his name is. I really don't feel like looking, but shout out to bro. You know who you are, man. You took these screenshots. You can find this stuff on the Japanese Sparking Zero website, but it's in Japanese. So what people have been doing is translating it into English. These are direct translations. So some of the sentences don't make sense because they're, some words and, colloquialism and stuff like that in other languages that don't directly translate to English. But I think I got some good common sense. So I'm just going to give my 2 cents over what this stuff means and what we might be seeing in the next couple of hours. So the first thing that I see on here is going to be the change to DP battles. So what it says is, so the first major game mode update is going to be for DP battle. You can change the total DP value from 15 all the way up to 20, all the way down to 10. So you can move it up 5, move it down 5. I think that's really cool because I was just watching one of Christian Sada's videos. He's another YouTuber. If you guys don't know him, check him out, please. He does a lot of DP stuff and just has a very analytical perspective on Sparking Zero, what can help make it better and how to play it the way that it is right now. But he was just talking and saying it would be great if DP battle had a 3v3, you know what I mean? And you would even cap like 3v3. You could cap it at 7 DP is the highest because it would change the meta. It would do all this other stuff. And now that they have a 10 DP mode, I think that would be cool. A lot of other characters are going to get used. Basically, each DP tier, total tier is going to have a different kind of meta, if that makes sense. I think it's just going to open the door for like a 10 DP for somebody to pick, somebody who is 7 DP, somebody who's 2 DP, and then maybe Hercule or Pansy if she's 1 DP. You know what I mean? Like a 3-man team or 2-man teams with those lower DP scales if you really want to get more damage off. And obviously, you could fill out the roster of 5 with 2 DP characters. But I just really think that's a great addition, man. I really like that. I personally like to play with characters who are weaker anyway. And I think this also opens the doors for when they, add more Dragon Ball characters, OG Dragon Ball characters, man. They're weaker. You know what I mean? So those different tiers of characters are going to have a different place to shine. And you can choose if you're going into player match with this kind of person or with this, DP tier, meaning going up to 10 or 15 or 20. If you want to fight with more OP characters, you can do that. And if you don't want to see that in your matches, you don't have to do that anymore. And that's such an amazing thing. That's definitely a W. Thank you, Bandai. Really appreciate you for that. All right, this next one is short dash. This next point, it says reduces the speed of short dashes backwards. We already should know what this is for, right? You fight an MUI and the first thing they want to do is, short dash backwards and then go straight up or keep dashing backwards, especially in a place like hyperbolic time chamber, right? Having this implemented in the game and it's only reducing the speed when you dash backwards, that's gonna stop people from running away and trying to zone. That is such a great idea. The left and the right strafe should be exactly the same. The forward dash should be the exact same speed, but dashing backwards, yeah, that's going to be much harder. I love that. The second point says shortens the stiffness time when performing a dragon dash during a short dash. Right. So a lot of times the game, what it would do, it would create a forced cooldown time or like a forced pause between the short dash and the dragon dash. I'm excited for that just to be more fluid because that is improving movement in Sparking Zero. And coming from BT3, we need that. We need as much movement as we can get. That stuff is going to just create more fighter individualism so that they can express themselves in the way that they want to move. And you can create, your own flanks and all your own stuff instead of having to do what you see all these YouTubers do. So I think that's a great thing, man. I'm excited about that. The next thing is going to be high speed dragon dash. That's the next point. So they adjusted the time to accept pre-input so that rush fighting is easier to connect when you arrive near your opponent. So basically, the last patch, they added this new mechanic called guard after attack or something like that. Basically, your opponent, instead of just standing still or just blocking. After they get hit, then they would try to guard. And when you do that, you're basically allowed to see what moves actually chain into combos. So I know that you guys have noticed if you short dash into a smash attack, you might get the first hit, but then once you try to connect your combo to that hit, they can block immediately. Same thing with a dragon dash, right? So you dragon dash and you hold square, and if you don't hold it all the way to smash, knock them back, you might hit them, but then they could just block or perception right after that. That's because those are not true combos. They don't connect the way that they're supposed to connect. So with this adjustment, it's saying that it's going to reduce or it's going to adjust the time for the input so that it's easier to connect the combo. You know what I mean? So they can actually be true combos. I hope that makes sense. The next thing, it says reduce time required to charge to maximum for smash fighting during high speed dragon dash. So basically that other thing I was just talking about, you manually dragon dash, not after a knockaway, but when you manually dragon dash at somebody and you hold down square, right? It takes forever for you to fully charge it up so you can knock them away. Like a lot of times you might hit them, but you'll only do like not a full knockback, but they'll just spin a couple times and be able to recover. It's actually ridiculous. But with this adjustment right here, they're saying that the time that it takes to get that fully charged smash is going to be reduced the way that it should have been in the first place. So that's great as well. It says adjusted so that even if you manipulate the trajectory while using high speed dragon dash, you will eventually reach the front of the opponent. So one thing that you would notice is when you would do any form, you know, the high speed dragon dash or just the dragon dash, what it would do is it would take you to where the opponent was. So if they moved, then there was nothing that you can do, specifically for the high speed dragon dash, right? It would take you to where they were. But if they sidestep, if they dashed out of the way, it wouldn't track them. So now this is going to track them. And that's great for people who love to elevator. It's great for people who, you know what I'm saying, just want to zone, like the Trunkses or the sword characters or the MUIs that just want to get away from you and you try to dragon dash to them, but it would never actually home to them, if that makes sense. So that's awesome. That's another W right there. Now, for anybody who wonders, why is this stuff that important? Why did they choose to do these little patches, whatever? These are actually big things. And the reason is, in the game right now, there's really only one way to safely approach your opponent. And that's going to be doing a short dash into a charge key blast to knock them off balance, and then you can get your combo off. Otherwise, if you just try to engage with any form of light attacks, you can get percepted. You can get sidestep, because sidestep right now doesn't track the opponent very well, like it did before this last patch. Or you have to really just hit them with some key blast. And even when you try to do like a light smash attack, meaning you don't hold, square or whatever your attack button is fully, you hold it maybe halfway or whatever. There are different levels to it. It makes you lose your tracking. So that's not safe. Let's say, for example, you try to do a light smash attack and you miss. The recoil for that is really bad. If they sidestep, you're going to get punished pretty bad. And so the only way to safely engage was to throw a couple key blasts and then try to hit them, or was to, do a charge key blast, kind of like how they do the resets and then start your combo while they're flipping. But now, since they're adjusting the short dash smash and the dragon dash smash, as well as the homing, there are going to be, a couple more ways to approach, which is a great thing. All right. Next one says Z-Burst Dash. Reduce the amount of ki consumed when activated and change the specification so that ki is consumed according to the distance traveled after activation. Basically, instead of it being 2 bars, however far you go, that's how much ki it's going to take. So the further your opponent is, the more ki you're going to need to reach them, which is exactly how it was in BT3. And that's how it should have been in the first place. And that's great. So if you still don't know what that means, basically, if you knock somebody away when you press X, or when you press, the dash button after that for the dragon dash follow up to knock the opponent away again, how people do over and over. If you look at your ki when you do that, it doesn't cost you 2 key bars to do that. It costs however long you're dragon dashing or Z-burst dashing. That's how much ki you're going to use. Now it's going to be like that all the way across the board. So whenever you Z-burst dash or dragon dash, it's only going to consume however is going to consume ki based on the distance that you travel, which is great. This is going to be great for zoning because you don't need 2 ki bars in order to, get to your opponent if they're trying to zone you out. Very, very, very good. Very great update, in my opinion. All right, let's move on. This one is probably going to be the biggest one that people wanted fixed all the way across the board. It says melee attacks in general. Increase the amount of ki recovered on hit. So basically, you know how you punch your opponent and your ki goes up. You're going to get more ki now. But the next one is the one I'm talking about. Adjusted so that the direction of the attack is less likely to deviate against opponents who have used a step. Basically, any form of sidestep. So if you ever sidestepped or vanished more than once, punch vanished more than once, use any form of high speed movement, any vanishing assault, your tracking was garbage. Like it was just horrible. And they're saying that you're less likely to do that. So that's basically them saying we adjusted the tracking for you guys. Let's go. It took you long enough, but I'll take it. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Next up is the rush in. Fixed an issue where some guards will be caught in between rush in and rush fighting. I don't know what that means, and I'm just going to leave that at that. Let's keep going. Rush derivative. So rush derivative is basically combo strings. So that's meaning not when you just press square any amount of times. It's when you pair your square with your triangle. I play on PlayStation 5. So whatever your rush chain extensions are, that's what the rush derivative is. So it says it is now possible to activate rush fighting derivatives even when rush fighting is being automatically evaded by Goku Super Ultra Instinct or Whis. So basically anybody with auto dodge, right? Now, I have noticed some people said that they didn't notice that. I noticed that that is specifically for flying kicks. If I have flying kicks on the first string, I press square and then I press triangle. I can't hit MUI if he dodged the first hit. And now what this is saying is that it's possible to activate, your rush chain strings, even if you're actively being evaded by any form of auto dodge, which is great. That's a nerf to auto dodge. We needed that. Thank you, Bandai. Appreciate that. Next up, it says smash melee, adjusted so that smash fighting can be used more smoothly during rush fighting. So one thing I have always wanted to do, because I saw Grandmaster Hawk do it, and it's just fire, bro. I want to use like all of the tools in the arsenal that I could fight with. I want to be doing all of it. And so it was, kind of hard to add smashes or perfect smashes or whatever, just smash moves in your combos, because your opponent could almost always turn all the way around if you have their back before you smash. You know what I mean? And they adjusted it. It says adjusted so that smash fighting can be used more smoothly during, rush fighting. So basically in the middle of your rush chain combos, it's going to be easier for you to get smash attacks off, which is just great. It just adds more variety to the game, more ways that people can play, more ways that people can customize their own fighting style and set themselves apart instead of everybody looking like the dramatic showdown. Sweep, get behind, sweep again, charge up to spark and use my ultimate, sweep, get behind, sweep again. Yeah, that's trash, bro. We don't want to do that. We want more variety. So thank you, Bandai. Next, it says rush ki blast. So rush ki blast is just your ki blast. They just call it rush stuff. So these are the normal ki blasts that it's talking about. Reduce the amount of damage. Yes. And the second one says strengthen the correction that reduces the amount of damage when hitting multiple times. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but when you're doing your, rush chain combos, your punching combos, the more you attack, the longer the combo is, the more reduction the damage scaling does, right? So basically, the longer you hit, the less damage you're doing. And I like that it's like that. But if you threw ki blast in the middle, the ki blast they wouldn't scale, or they wouldn't scale very well. That's why people would do shotgun ki blast and you would still be taking that 4,000 to 8,000 damage on top of all of the punching that they just did to you. I like that they implemented this because people still do ki blast spam you. I literally had somebody go into sparking, fly all the way as far as they could away from me, and still hit me with ki blast in hyperbolic time chamber and just shoot ki blast at me the whole time. And it's not really safe to revenge counter that, because you're going to be revenge countering right into somebody's ultimate. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not wise. So I love the implementation of, the new updates and battle mechanics like this, because you're going to be wasting way more resources, then your return on investment is going to be smaller. Basically, that's what I'm saying. It's not going to be worth the amount of ki that you're wasting for the damage that you're going to be getting. And ki blasts, they're not meant to win you the game anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's just a tool so that you could fight. So I love that these mechanics are very, hand-to-hand combat forward. That's what they're trying to promote more. That's what I see. And I'm all for it, man. I love fighting in the game. That's what you do. All right. Next up, it says smash ki blast. Reduce the amount of damage for spreading smash ki blast. So spreading ones, some people call them the bullet ki blast. Some people call them the shotgun ones. We talking about the shotgun, crazy damage, 8K, 12K if you charge it all the way up, damage that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta will do, or any of the fusions. That's what we're talking about, right? They reduced the amount of damage for those ki blasts. Man, these words are beating me up. That's crazy. It says Son Goku, so Ultra Instinct and Ultra Instinct Mastered. Their smash ki blast can now be deflected. Somebody clap it up right now for Bandai. You know what I'm saying? What's this? I don't know what the guy's name is, man. I don't know if it's the CEO or whoever, the guy that gave the award to Drastray, the guy that won with the MUI at the Dramatic Showdown. That man said, this is the most skillful gameplay I ever saw in my life. I said, bro, I know you're lying. Yeah, they watched him play so they could nerf it bad. So now you can knock back those air palm ki blasts, which is amazing. All right, and this next one is for all of y'all sword users. It says increased the ki consumption for unblockable types of smash ki blasts and lengthen the stiffness after firing. Basically, the lag after you throw your sword slash is going to be increased, and it's going to cost more ki for you to do that. I know that they got that from some of them people at the Dramatic Showdown too, man. Hey, that was horrible to watch. But if that's what it took for Bandai to fix it, thank you. All right, let's move on. This next one says identification. You guys got to remember that this is a direct Japanese to English translation. And so what I think the identification is perception. So we're just going to throw that in there. So makes it impossible to perform identification during guard stiffness. Guard stiffness. What do I think that means? I think that means when your guard is broken. Now, I've never seen, you know what I'm saying, somebody use perception when their guard was broken. I have seen people who have auto block on still be able to block when their guard is broken, when they're in that exhausted state. So I think it can mean either one or two things. Guard stiffness, right? So for the last one, when it talked about the unblockable, ki moves, like the sword moves, basically, it said that it's going to be an increased stiffness. So I think it means lag. So basically, it could be one or two things. You guys let me know if you've ever seen somebody use perception when their guard was broken and they were in that exhausted state. I doubt that. But it could be one or two things. It could either be that's no longer going to be possible if that was ever a thing. Or my other thought is that it could be maybe somebody does like the 5-hit combo or something like that, and you block all of them, or somebody is about to, try to do a low sweep on you from the front and you block it in the recoil. A lot of times after they recoil, they can still use perception when you're coming to attack them. And they can get a perception on you, which is ridiculous. You should be able to punish them. I think that's what it might be saying. Makes it impossible to perform identification during guard stiffness. So hopefully that's what that means. Somebody, you guys let me know in the comments if you think that's what that means or if you think it means something else. Next up, relax the time to accept a follow-up attack after a successful identification. So obviously, there was that. Hopefully, they fixed this. There was that glitch that was going on when you use like a perception, or really it was when you did a revenge counter. But a lot of times after you do perception, then people could still hit you right away. Like they could literally get percepted and then go right back into their combo, like hitting you again, like nothing happened. I think they're saying that they're relaxing the time of the person who used the perception. They're relaxing that time and allowing them to follow up faster after they hit a successful perception on somebody. Because if you punish them with a perception, then you should be able to attack right after that or move out of the way or do whatever. You shouldn't get punished for punishing them. All right, next one says increase the key consumption at the moment of activation, which is another reason why I believe that this is talking about perception. You hit perception, it's going to cost you more key. So, hey, we're nerfing those perception spammers even more. I love it. I love that. Increase the skill stock required to use against smash fighting and rush derivatives from 1 to 2. So I think specifically this is talking about super perception. Right now, how it is, you need 1 stock. And if you hold perception and somebody does a light smash or a heavy smash on you, or if they do flying kicks, right? If you step into flying kicks and somebody's holding perception, then they can use a super perception if they have 1 stock. This says that they increased the skill stock required to use from 1 to 2. Now, I'm thinking that means you need 2 stocks and it's going to cost you 2 stocks to use it now. It could mean that because right now all you need is 1 and you can use that 1 and it'll go down to 0, but you'll get the super perception off. It could mean that you have to have at least 2, but it's still going to cost 1. I don't think that, but it could mean that. That's something that we're just going to have to see when we finally, get the patch. All right, next up, it says ultra identification, which is why I believe that means super perception in, English. It says increase the buff effect when deflecting a blast. Increased effect amount, extended effect duration. And it also says makes a small amount of ki restored when deflecting a blast. So obviously they are talking about super perception and they're talking about if somebody shoots a Gallic gun or a Kamehameha and you have 2 stock, if you hold perception, not just press it, but if you hold it, then you can deflect it with a kick. You could deflect it with your hand. You could just take it straight to the chest. Those type of moves right there. If you didn't know, what that would usually do is it would speed up your key charging speed. So what it's saying is it's increasing the effect amount, meaning how fast it charges your key, which is great. And then it also extends the effect duration. So it extends how long your key can be charged that fast, which is great. And also it's you're gonna recover some key when you do that. To be honest, I think that's great because there was really no reason besides if you were trying to flex or something to ever deflect somebody's blast. Like the increase in speed, just didn't really do much and it didn't last that long. So why would I waste if I have a wild sense or if I'm looking for an after image strike or after image or whatever? Why would I waste 2 of those stock explosive wave? Why would I waste those 2 stocks and waste an explosive wave on deflecting somebody's blast? I never would. I would just move out of the way or block because many of them are not unblockable. So now this gives me more of an incentive because I could just get that key back. You know what I'm saying? I think that was a really good idea. Next up, it says blast decreases the amount of damage when hitting with the blast or ultimate blast during a combo. So, and then let's just go to the next one. It says the amount of damage dealt with blast, dealt when blasts are hit consecutively has been reduced. I think we understand that one. So for the second one, I know all of you guys know that super base form Broly is still playing like it's pre-patch, like pre the first patch. He has that full power. He has that unblockable rush move. And so you just use the rush move. If they don't vanish it, then you get them and then you slam them on the ground. And right after that, you just do full power and then you do it again because you can use rush moves or rush supers while people are on the ground, which is something that I hope they fix. I hope that because in BT3, if somebody was on the ground and you tried to hit them with a rush super, you couldn't hit them because all the animations start when they're upright. So how did they get upright all of a sudden? And also it's just pretty cheesy, man. You would just stop right at their feet. And so that's going to combat some of that. So I'm all for that. But it reduces the amount of damage of blasts that are done back to back, which that's a good idea. This game should be more focused on fighting and hand-to-hand combat. In actual Dragon Ball, nobody shoots like 3 Gallic guns back to back. Those are your special moves that are shot like once or twice during a match. You know what I'm saying? And then when it says decrease the amount of damage when hitting with a blast or ultimate blast during a combo, so I think it's talking about the damage scaling, right? And what comes to my mind is when I'm in sparking mode or somebody's in sparking mode and they dash behind you and they're beating the crap out of you. You're praying for a super counter and then they knock you away and then they hit you with a super right after that. You know what I mean? Like they get their 21 or 18 or 19 hits in and then they hit you with an ultimate or whatever. And the scaling was never that much. Like that's 40K, 30K, 27K damage that you're just eating. You know what I mean? So I like the damage reduction in that. Again, this is just speculation still because we haven't seen how they work. But based on what they're saying, I'm loving all of these adjustments because it's making the game more hand-to-hand combat focused, which is how it should be. More focused on, who is the better player, not who can do the more cheesy things. The way that you should win in this game is by winning in neutral, when nobody has anybody else's back, when you guys are trying to engage, you know what I'm saying? In the fights, whoever can engage better should be the one who wins. And I like that. I feel like these battle mechanics are reinforcing that. So that's what I like. All right, next up it says other, or it says auto reflect. Now, I don't know exactly what this means. This is just, I have no idea what this means, to be honest. This is just some speculation on what I think this means. But it says only characters with 7 DP or higher can activate auto reflect in sparking mode. Now, there are only a couple things that you can do in sparking mode. You can, certain characters, or I'm not sure if it's everybody, but I know that you can use high speed movement, meaning at the cost of your sparking mode, you can just continue to vanish. You can just keep vanishing. You know what I mean? If you keep pressing the block button, and sometimes that throws your opponent off. Sometimes it, gives you the opening that you're looking for, whatever. But there's this other thing that you can do if you dragon dash, and while you're in the middle of the dragon dash in sparking, you press the block button, and it looks, I don't know, it's like a sporadic movement that certain characters can make. There's really not even a specific formula of what character can do it. But I think what it's saying is that, if I had to guess, not that I think that it's this, but if I were to guess, I would say that it's saying only 7 DP and higher characters can do this. But again, that's just, my 2 cents. I don't actually know what auto reflect is. All right, next up it says other. The automatic recovery speed for the first key stick has been increased. So your first key bar. So I think it was the last patch. What they did already was your first 2 key bars charge faster than the rest of them. And they automatically, whether you're being hit or whether you're just, sitting idly, they fill up on their own. Now they're saying the recovery speed for the first one has been increased, which I think that's a good idea. I don't think it could hurt. Do we need it? I'm not sure, but can it hurt? I don't think so. The camera behavior during battles between normal sized characters and giant characters has been adjusted. I think that is a much needed adjustment. To be honest, my hot take is that giants need to be buffed. I know a lot of people are going to click off the video when they hear that because they hate playing giants. And I know because I play giants, not in a cheesy way, but I play them. And as soon as I play them, I get rage quits all the time, man. I'm talking about we've been fighting the whole match and I need to get my key back with Scouter Vegeta. And so I go Great Ape, rage quit, just like that. But the camera, oftentimes I find myself losing or not really being worth it to transform because I can't see my opponent. Like imagine Chaozu fighting a Great Ape and Chaozu's beating me because he keeps using heavy attacks or he's in sparking and I can't see him. How can I vanish his movement when it's based on timing and I can't see him? So I like that they adjusted the camera. It says adjusted to prevent throws from accidentally firing during air combos when using classic controls. I don't use classic controls, so that doesn't really affect me. If you use classic controls, drop it in the combo how this is going to be a good thing. So let me read it one more time. It says adjusted to prevent throws from accidentally firing during air combos when using classic controls. Next up, it says adjusted the time you can switch. So that's going to be a nerf to the switch timer. there's no way that they buffed it. So they definitely made it to where it's longer. That would be my opinion anyway, or that's my guess. That's something that Christian Sata was talking about and something that I agree with. I think that's going to be really good for DP battle. And the reason is DP battle right now, hopefully they changed the battle mechanic. They did change it last time and they didn't tell us. So it used to be based on the damage output that you do. And they changed it to health preservation. So whoever has the most health is the winner at the end of the match. The problem with that is all people would do is they would stall. They would just continuously switch because when you switch, your characters recover health. So they would literally just have more characters than you, right? If I have 3 characters and somebody else has 5, they automatically win because their health pool is greater than mine. You know what I mean? If they do any damage to any of my characters. And so now that the switch timer has been nerfed, if that's really what this means, then it's going to be more people are going to be losing characters, and the timer, the overall timer, that usually runs out and decides who wins. That's not even going to be as useful because when you switch somebody in, they're going to be in longer. So it's more likely that they're going to die. It's going to be more risky to do transformations because that timer starts over, which is a really good idea. So W to Bandai right there. All right, we just got a couple more. This next one says skill change adjustment. All skills that automatically avoid opponents' attacks, such as Wild Sense and After Image Fist, which I believe says After Image Strike. It says the effect will be canceled if you are judged while it is activated. Again, direct translation from Japanese to English. I think what it's really saying is the skills that are like Wild Sense that automatically get you out of an opponent's attack. So those 3, I'm pretty sure, are going to be Wild Sense, After Image Strike, and just normal After Image that doesn't go over and over and over for 10 seconds, right? Now, obviously, this is not going to apply, at least from the way my mind works or is processing this, is it's not going to apply to After Image Strike because it already does apply to After Image Strike. But if you get hit with the perception, when it's saying if you are judged, if you get hit with the perception while your Wild Sense or while your After Image, the normal one, like the one-time use After Image, is in effect, then the effect is going to be canceled. It's going to be nullified. I love that. I love that because Wild Sense and After Image, they're both very easy to get around unless you use them, appropriately. Meaning the way that you should be using them is instead of standing there and charging while you have After Image or Wild Sense lower ranks, what you should do is go on the offense once you have it. Get behind your opponent's back and use After Image, because if they super counter you, then that's a free reset for you. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Wild Sense. If they you get behind them and you make them super counter, and if they super counter, let them hit you. And if they don't know how to manually vanish the Wild Sense, then it's going to knock them away. You know what I mean? That's how you should be using it. But with this update, I think what it's saying is if you get hit with a perception while you've activated an After Image or a Wild Sense, it's going to be the same thing as perception. It's going to be nullified. That's great. No more after Image cheese, no more Wild Sense cheese that you can't vanish because it's lagging. Yeah, let's get that out of here. All right, next up it says Kale, the Rage Shout. It says the time until it is activated has been increased. So basically the startup time for that skill that Kale has when she just yells at you and then the cheesers proceed to say it's time for a bloodbath. Yeah, that right there is going to take you longer to get up, because before you could just literally drag and dash behind somebody and use it and it comes off in like 0.5 seconds, like so fast, and you're just paralyzed right there. So that's a great idea. Next up, it says blast adjustment changes. All unblockable explosion wave blasts. The speed at which the effect range expands has been increased. All right, this is talking about moves that Majin Vegeta, Majin Buu, Super Buu, Gamma 2, people like that have those self-destructing, what is it? Who is it? Vegeta, Blue Vegeta, or in Blue Vegeta Evolved. I mean, same person, but Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, that's what I'm talking about. The ultimate is almost impossible. Raccoon, it's almost impossible to get those off unless you just cheese the person and just dash behind them very quickly and, make the ultimate go off. It is unblockable, but you could gut punch somebody and fully hold the gut punch or fully hold the sweep and hit them with it, and they could still get away from it because the speed that the blast came off was so slow. So it's not like the Kefla one where it's a instant blast. It is one of those ones that start at the epicenter where the character is, and then it slowly expands out. They are buffing that, so it's gonna come off faster. It's gonna expand faster. So I think that's a good thing. More viable characters. Future Trunks Super, the Final Flash, increased ki consumption and damage. I think they're increasing the ki consumption because it's so fast and they probably didn't want to nerf the speed, but they're going to buff the damage, which, that doesn't really affect me. It's cool by me. I think they did that to one of the Vegetos with his final Kamehameha, kind of the same thing. So that's cool. Super Trunks, his Finish Buster, increased damage, which is cool. I think that's probably the best move because Burning Attack is just way too slow for the Trunkses. So that's a W for him getting a buff. They also increased the damage. Okay, cool. All right, Whis, his Symphony of Destruction. Symphonic Destruction, that's what it's called, I believe. You can now vanish that. We love that. Enough said. It can now be vanished. Character adjustments. Giant characters in general, all giants. Reduce damage from rush and smash fighting. Increase stiffness time when the rush and smash fighting misses. Increase damage taken from fighting attacks. Reduce backward short dash speed. Okay. My 2 cents. I don't really agree with this. I actually think giants need to be buffed. Their movement is way too slow. They can't sidestep. And it's very easy to beat the giants when you have a character that's over 7 DP, which those are the only characters that people play at this point in time anyway. Like there's no meta of anyone that's under 7 DP at all. And so increasing the damage that they take from fighting attacks, I don't agree with that. I just don't. And then reducing their backward short dash speed. I don't think they should reduce any movement from giants because they're already stiff as is. You know what I mean? That's just me. And now when they swing and miss, it's gonna be worse off for them. And when they hit you, it's not gonna hurt as bad. I don't know, man. You guys let me know what you think about the giant fighting, down below. All right, Master Roshi, Hercule, and Yajirobe reduced ki recovery speed. Yep, I like that. Especially for Hercule, bro. I get it. He wasn't never doing nothing to nobody anyway. But they did charge really fast. So hopefully that changes the meta. I love when the meta changes, man. Really, hopefully it just changes it in a way where people choose other people instead. There are other 2 DP characters. So androids in general with automatic ki recovery. Automatic ki recovery has been stopped during Z counter, which is great. So Z counter, if you don't know, it's just the Vanish Wars. So they are not going to be recovering any ki during Vanish Wars. That is great. That makes it a little bit more of a level playing field. They still automatically recover their ki. So I think that's a good thing. All right, these are going to be for androids in general. So the last one was only for the androids that automatically recover ki, which who is an android that does not automatically recover ki? But the other androids are all of the androids. The silhouettes are no longer visible to opponents while Z search is canceled. So if you didn't know, the way that Goku and Vegeta eventually learn how to just sense ki and mask their ki and all of that stuff, androids can't do that. In the same way, they couldn't sense the androids' ki either. And so there's no way that the androids, when somebody's hiding from you, let's say they're hiding behind a rock and you see that kind of glowing whitish blue silhouette behind the rock to let you know where they are. That's because your character can sense ki. Androids can't do that, but they could in the game. And so now they're saying that they won't be able to do that anymore. And so I like that that's more anime accurate. I will say that for people that want to hide and charge up though, and if you want to use an Android, it's going to be tough. Somebody just hide in the water, you're going to lose track of them. And if you don't physically know where they are, like in real life, if you can't tell where they are, you're not going to be able to find them in the game, which is crazy. But that's going to add a new dynamic to some gameplay, so I'm for it. All right, we got Ultra Instinct Sign and Mastered Ultra Instinct. Increase the cooldown time when attempting to fire Smash Key Blast again after using it. So those air palms is just going to take longer. So it's been nerfed. Undead, I hope you're okay, bro. I'm sorry for your loss, brother. I know that you love MUI and you love, zoning and using those air palms. They can be deflected now. And there's a cooldown time for how long you can use it. So I'm sorry for your loss, brother. Hit me up, man. Dr. Wheelo, decrease the maximum number of skill stocks. So I don't know how many he had, but if he had 4, now he has 3. Maximum, if he had 5, now he has 4. You get it. Nappa, they decreased his health. Raccoon has decreased health, and Spopovich has decreased health. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure all of these guys are characters that had a little bit more than 3 bars anyway, and all of them are also meta. So I'm pretty sure that's the reason why they were all meta, and I'm all for this nerf. Now, a disclaimer, in general, I don't really approve of nerfs. I think other characters should be buffed because why would you nerf something? That just doesn't make sense unless it needs to be. Like MUI, he needed to be nerfed. Crazy. Or the androids, at the first, portion of the dramatic showdown. But they could have just given more characters more health, a bigger pool to play with. So when I look at Nappa, who's 3DP, I look at Raccoon, who's 3DP, like Pan, what is his name? Teen Goku, Cell Jr., like these people don't really compete, especially in DP, because the win condition currently, hopefully they change it during this patch because they shadow patched it last time again. The win condition is to have the most health. And so I hope that because they nerf these people who have more health, people will choose other characters. I'm for this because it encourages diversity in the rosters. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm for it. It is what it is. Gogeta, the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, decrease the damage dealt by Smash Key Blast. So, and it says, and reduce homing performance. So we obviously know that is talking about that little bullet style, like inline Key Blast that he does that everybody tries to spam you with. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to do as much damage. And it's not going to follow you. It's not going to track as well. I'm all for it because people would just cheese with that. They would zone and they would run away and then they would just keep shooting you with that. I think that's great because now you can't even move. You can't short dash backwards as fast. The homing with Dragon Dash is now better. It's going to put you in front of your opponent so they can't zone you and run away. And those Key Blasts don't do as much damage. So my idea is that you're going to be wasting more of a resource than the damage that you hope to get off of it. Perfect. I want to frustrate all of these fusion players, all of these cheesers. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even against fusions and stuff, but if you're cheesing, which most people are, hey, it is what it is. You deserve it. All right, Harudagarn, it says, fixed the issue where rush fighting would hit even if the opponent was guarding. I think that's pretty straightforward. I never really use Harudagarn, but I will do a video with them eventually. But that makes sense to me. And for the last category, we have other. I don't know what that says. I don't know what it's trying to say either in that first point, but somebody's hit box is getting adjusted. That's all that I know. Let's go to the next one. If you know what that is, drop it in the comments. I don't. If you speak Japanese, you can always go to the Sparking Zero website and read it in Japanese, what it's saying. And if you find out, just drop it in the comments below. The next thing it says is throw escape. So this is when you tech the grabs. Adjusted to reduce the issue of the camera switching momentarily when activated. Improves usability and stability of operation. I never really had that problem, I don't think. But I mean, hey, if somebody did, then put it down in the comments, and W Bandai for fixing it. And the last two things, it says this update must be applied in order to play online, which we know, and an internet connection is required to apply the update. Man, if you guys made it this long, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if you like content like this, subscribe, comment, like. I will be posting a before and after video after the patch drops to see if they did any extra shadow patches, if they fixed stuff like double leg sweep hard knockdowns from behind, and other things like that. I'm just going to test all of these things out in the patch and see if anything else changed. So you don't want to miss that video. Appreciate you guys. Let's get into the prayer. Lord, I just pray that you'll bless everybody that listened to this patch update. Pray that you'll help them to be better fighters, Lord Jesus, honorable fighters, God. Thank you for dying on the cross for us. Thank you for resurrecting, Lord Jesus. Thank you for Easter. And thank you for this DLC that came right after. That is so fire. Like, man, I prayed for this. I ain't gonna lie to you. I did. So thank you for being a prayer answering God. And until next time, this is Average Z Fighter in Jesus' name. Peace.